Namaste Krishna Rao garu. Welcome to IYR Talks invitation. Today, I just would like to have your view, particularly now recently because of the neighboring states, what we have seen in Bangladesh, destabilization, and probably the involvement of American hand also in the governing of Bangladesh. But of late, what we have seen is that the in Myanmar's junta has lost control of its borders with Bangladesh because of the Arkan army. So this Arkan army now taking control of all this stuff. Right from the beginning, it is under their control only. But now is it going to impact India's strategic interests? That's one point I just would like to know. Also, India has funded one sea port, and Chinese also Rakhine province, that one also is under now AS control. So the situation of this Akan army control over these things is going to pose a problem on regional stability and India's connectivity to the projects. So, can you just give the background of Arkan army and how it was before partition and later, and what could be the strategy of India now to counteract the Bangladesh turmoil? And most of the Hindus also recently have taken a big beating in Bangladesh. So whether they can be repatriated to this particular place and form a Hindu state over there and all that. So various uh, permutations and combinations are there. So what could be the possible outcome of this Arkan army threat?
Yeah, this Arakan, another word, Rakhine province. This was a province within Myanmar, but actually it has an identity of its own. Originally, it was never part of Myanmar. Myanmar people were fighting with it and things were going on, but it has its links more with India. Because right from 4th century, 3rd century, Buddhism has spread it to that area from India. And there used to be a very, very busy place, Thanyavadi, which was the place where that was the city which was the center of Buddhist culture in that Arkan Valley. But when the British took over Myanmar, they also made this part of Myanmar. And once Burma was given independence, this also went away with Burma. Right from that time, they were saying we are a separate entity and we need a separate state. It has a peculiar demographic division. Rohingyas, whom we now keep on hearing quite often, actually come from this area. It's about 70-75% Buddhist, about 20-25% Muslim. That's the composition of the place. In fact, the emergence of Islam in Arkan Valley has something to do with Indian history also. In the sense, Shah Jahan, when put three of his sons in three parts of India, of course, Aurangzeb in Deccan, Shahju or Shahjud-Dawla or some fellow, another fellow in Bengal area. One more chap, Khurram, I think he was in Gujarat. So once the family battle, bitter struggle started, Aurangzeb played one against the other and finally defeated Dara Shikoh. After defeating Dara Shikoh, he concentrated on this fellow, other brother who was in charge of Bengal province and sent his army. He was defeated and finally he was pushed into this Arkan Valley. He took refuge under the Arkan province, whoever was heading there. That's how the Islam spread there, and this Rohingyas also got converted or whatever it is, and that Islamic identity came. So the Buddhists there were really afraid that the Muslims will take over because Rohingyas, big families, 10, 15, 20 and things like that. So there was a systematic persecution of the Rohingyas and they were taken out. Now when Myanmar has become unstable, here there is an Arkan Valley. which is declaring independence and is working there. And they are controlling the border to Bangladesh. Recently, Ajit Doval was there in China, and China and India seems to have discussed these issues, looks like. After that, this Arkan Valley became active. Now, what is known is America has a strategic interest in this area, and it has an important role as far as regime change in Bangladesh is concerned. Similarly, America is also toying with the idea of creating a Christian state, combining all these tribal Christian belt within India, within Bangladesh, within Myanmar. So this seems to have triggered the cooperation between India and China, because neither China wants American presence here or America getting a hold here, nor India. So now that Bangladesh is trying to threaten and do a lot of these atrocities on Hindus, minorities, and try to project anti-Indian feeling, maybe India is trying to tighten its control over Bangladesh through this Arkan army. Because if they can be strengthened, it's a which thing, they can become a constant trouble for Bangladesh. In fact, that whole Chittagong area is connected to Chittagong, Cox's Bazar area is connected to Bangladesh through a small neck, something like our own chicken neck, which connects us with the northeastern states. Over, up, all is India. Actually, that particular portion, at the time of partition, Indian leaders should have fought and got it as part of India, because that's the real outlet for the northeastern states. If you want to see connectivity, that's the only connectivity to northeastern states. Strategically, Chittagong and Cox's Bazar were very, very important for India. But then at that partition time, I really don't think most of these leaders really applied about the real interests of the country. In fact, Gandhi was going around preaching against Hindu-Muslim rights and going on satyagraha, stating that the amounts meant for Pakistan have to be released. Misplaced priorities, whereas this should have been the crucial thing. Even now, if Arkan Valley and Arkan Army can really start fingering Bangladesh at one time or the other, this is an area on which India should concentrate. And if that can come within our country, that can be a place where you can rehabilitate all these persecuted Hindus from Bangladesh also. There seems to be some unity of interest between India and China in this particular issue. We'll have to watch and see. But latest, this Arkan army's activity and movement along the Bangladesh border does suggest there's some fillip they are getting both from India and China as it stands now.
We'll have to wait and see how
Yeah,
it's
it
going
goes.
to form. Thank you.